Today, we bring forward the circus's darker legacy by exploring the lives of performers who genuinely existed. Many were exploited, shamed, and presented as attractions for audiences worldwide. Across history, the circus inspired amazement and curiosity, yet a cruel reality lingered beneath the surface. Behind the bright tents and dazzling performances were real people forced to endure severe hardship simply to survive. This video aims to honor their courage, respect their humanity, and ensure their stories are never forgotten. Let's begin with number 15. Number 15, William Dirks. William Dirks entered life with facial features that immediately stopped people in their tracks. He was raised in rural northern Alabama, far removed from cities, schools, or medical support, living with an extreme cleft palate that split straight through the center of his face. A rare condition known as frontal aspergillus dysplasia deepened the difference, giving him the appearance of two noses. Reactions were rarely kind. Some stared openly, others turned away in discomfort. As a teenager, Dirks left isolation behind and stepped into the sideshow circuit, eventually performing at Hubert's Museum in New York. To complete the presentation, he painted a third eye between his own, fully embracing what audiences came to see. By the 1960s, he earned nearly $100 each week. During that time, he met and married Mildred, known professionally as the alligator skin woman. His life was never defined by sympathy. It reflected persistence, self-acceptance, and love found in unexpected places. To number 14, the Sacred Hairy Family of Burma. In the late 19th century, Barnum's sideshow introduced American crowds to a family unlike anything they had ever witnessed. They descended from a genuine Burmese bloodline, their bodies covered entirely in thick, soft hair. The condition, later identified as hypertrichosis, had passed through generations since their ancestor Shea Mayong was born in 1796 in what is now Laos. At only 5 years old, Shea was presented to the King of Ava and raised within the royal court. He grew into a favored entertainer, married at 22, and began a lineage of children who shared the trait, including his daughter Mafun. When revolution swept through Burma in 1885, the palace burned, forcing the family to flee into the jungle. They later emerged in England as refugees. Hunwara naturalists described them as intelligent and gentle. In 1888, they joined P.T. Barnum's American tour as the Sacred Hairy Family of Burma. Soon after, they vanished from the historical record. Number 13, the clown who ran for President Dan Rice was never a novelty hiding behind grease paint. Long before Barnum claimed the spotlight, Rice had already established himself as America's most recognizable showman. He combined comedy, strength, animal training, and political satire into a single act, earning nearly $1,000 per week. Rice trained elephants, performed feats of strength, and delivered sharp commentary while campaigning directly from the stage. The phrase "jump on the bandwagon" began when he allowed presidential candidate Zachary Taylor to use his circus wagon as a platform. Taylor later won and named Rice an honorary colonel. Even the saying "one horse show" traces back to Rice's early tours. Born Daniel McLaren in 1823, he once traveled with a pig trained to answer questions by nodding yes or no. As his fame grew, entertainment and politics blended seamlessly. Rice ran for state senate in 1864 and launched a serious presidential campaign in 1868. He never won office but permanently reshaped American showmanship. Number 12, the Elephant Girl. Sylvia Porterous, widely known as the Elephant Girl, became a familiar figure in 1940s America due to a severe case of elephantiasis that dramatically altered her feet. Her right foot grew far larger than her left, creating a pronounced limp that intensified public fascination. Archival photographs from the era often show Sylvia smiling calmly while crowds examined her condition. Before each performance, she addressed audiences herself, explaining her situation and closing with the words, "It's God's will, and there's nothing I can do about it." That quiet honesty often disarmed spectators. Unlike many performers pushed unwillingly into exhibition, Sylvia chose her place in the spotlight. She toured extensively with traveling shows, facing constant scrutiny without hesitation. Though presented as a curiosity, she never appeared diminished by the gaze. Instead, she carried herself with composure and resolve. In an industry built on exaggeration and spectacle, Sylvia maintained control over her narrative, standing firmly within the spotlight rather than shrinking beneath it. To number 11, the hair-hanging wonders. Suspension by hair alone sounds unbearable, yet Victoria Medeiros and Whitney Neves transformed that strain into performance. As part of the Ringling Brothers shows, Victoria hung high above audiences, spinning and juggling while supported only by her hair secured to metal rings. Beneath her, Whitney remained inverted, relying entirely on neck and back strength to stabilize the act. Their success depended on relentless conditioning, since even brief breaks weakened tolerance. While the routine appeared graceful, the preparation behind it was punishing. Victoria avoided heat, chemicals, and processed food, maintaining a diet centered on eggs, avocados, and nutrients believed to support hair strength. Absolute trust defined the act. Only her husband, Andre, was permitted to secure her hair to the rig. And their most demanding routine involved a silk descent while still suspended. Every movement required precision. For Victoria, pain was never hidden. It existed as an inseparable part of the performance itself. Number 10, the human fountain Ali, an Egyptian sideshow performer, became widely recognized for an ability that left audiences speechless. He possessed remarkable control over his own body, allowing him to expel liquids with astonishing precision. His signature act involved swallowing enormous amounts of water, then releasing it in thin, controlled streams, resembling a living fountain. In his most infamous routine, Ali consumed water first, followed by kerosene. He then expelled flames across the stage, igniting the space before forcefully releasing the stored water from his stomach to extinguish the fire. But another deeply unsettling act involved swallowing live goldfish and regurgitating them moments later, unharmed, still swimming and alive. Audiences watched in disbelief, unable to comprehend how such control was possible. There were no visible tricks, no concealed mechanisms, only a human body operating beyond normal limits. Ali was not simply performing stunts. He was redefining what people believed the human body could endure and control. Number 9, Miss Rosina Rose Foster. Miss Rosina Rose Foster challenged expectations through refinement rather than spectacle. Born without arms, she traveled across Europe demonstrating extraordinary skill, using only her feet. With calm precision, she crocheted fabric, threaded needles, wrote letters, and signed autographs entirely with her toes. Her movements remained measured and composed. I never hurried or exaggerated. Always dressed in elegant gowns, she performed seated at carefully arranged tables, directing attention toward her ability rather than her condition. While many sideshow performers relied on shock value, Rosina remained understated. She allowed mastery and discipline to speak quietly on her behalf. In a world quick to label difference as deficiency, she subtly reversed that assumption. Although little documentation exists regarding her personal life, her public image endured. Audiences remembered her not as a curiosity, but as a demonstration of adaptability, control, and dignity, presented without theatrics or forced emotion. Number 8, Giacomo and Giovanni Battista Tocci. Giacomo and Giovanni Battista Tocci were Italian-born twins, delivered in 1877 and joined at the torso, sharing a single pair of legs. Each brother possessed his own heart and digestive system, creating a striking mirrored symmetry. From an early age, they drew attention throughout Europe before touring the United States as the Two-Headed Boys. Always dressed in tailored suits, the twins presented themselves with intelligence and calm assurance. They answered questions clearly, often reading aloud together for audiences. Each brother could write independently, sometimes producing text in different languages at the same time. Their promoters avoided crude shock tactics, choosing instead to emphasize education and respect. The twins were presented as thoughtful individuals rather than curiosities. Over time, they chose to withdraw from public exhibition. Returning to Italy, they lived privately, leaving behind a legacy defined not by sensation, but by restraint, intellect, Ioana, and carefully preserved dignity. Number 7, Horace Riddler. Horace Riddler, known professionally as the Great Omi, or the Zebra Man, was entirely self-constructed. Born into British aristocracy, he was not pushed into exhibition by circumstance. Instead, he deliberately shaped his own persona. Through hundreds of hours of painful tattooing, he transformed his body with bold black and white stripes resembling a zebra. He added facial piercings, oversized earrings, and layers of tribal jewelry. His origin story was fictional, claiming capture and ritual marking by a remote tribe. On stage, he spoke refined English, wore flowing robes, and cultivated intrigue through controlled presentation. Every movement carried intention. Riddler understood how curiosity functioned and how to profit from it. Unlike performers shaped by misfortune, he shaped himself. Each stripe, piercing, and presentation choice was deliberate. His notoriety was not accidental. It was constructed carefully through self-invention and a precise understanding of spectacle. Number 6, Ethel Granger. Born in 1905, Ethel Granger became known for possessing the smallest recorded waist in history, measuring only 13 inches. This extreme figure was not her original pursuit, but the result of her husband William's fascination with Victorian beauty ideals. He encouraged her to wear corsets continuously, even during sleep. Over years of relentless compression, her body gradually reshaped. William later introduced facial piercings and additional body modifications, which Ethel slowly accepted. Her sharply contoured silhouette, paired with eccentric fashion choices, made her a striking public figure throughout the 1920s and 1930s. Though she rarely spoke publicly about her thoughts or emotions, her appearance drew constant attention. Ethel never framed herself as a victim or a rebel. She existed quietly within the image that formed around her. Over time, she became an unspoken symbol of extreme body modification, remembered less for words and more for a form that challenged physical limits. Number 5, the albino aboriginal Unzi. Unzi gained recognition in the Barnum and Bailey Circus as an albino performer whose appearance immediately commanded attention. His pale skin, light-colored eyes, and striking white afro stood out powerfully beneath the circus lights. Promoters quickly fabricated an elaborate and entirely false backstory, presenting him as an aboriginal god raised deep within the Australian wilderness and worshipped by native tribes. Posters and advertisements showed him surrounded by kangaroos, spears, and smoky scenery, imagery created solely to provoke curiosity and boost ticket sales. In reality, none of it was accurate. Unzi spoke fluent English and was raised in a westernized environment. His elaborate costumes and stage identity had nothing to do with authenticity and everything to do with marketing. His face appeared on postcards, flyers, and circus promotions, turning him into a profitable spectacle. He never publicly corrected the myths, allowing fiction to overshadow the person beneath it. Unzi became a clear example of how race, fantasy, and profit collided under the circus tent, where truth was often silenced. Entered number 4, the human unicorn, Wong. Wong, a rural Chinese villager, gained international attention because of a rare medical condition that caused a spiraled keratin growth to emerge from his scalp, earning him the nickname the human unicorn. The horn reportedly grew nearly 14 inches long, resembling a twisted, hardened cone. Medical experts believed it to be an extreme form of a cutaneous horn, a condition in which compacted keratin forms nail-like structures. News of Wong spread quickly, and photographs circulated worldwide, often paired with exaggerated illustrations that blurred the boundary between reality and fantasy. In some depictions, he appeared dressed in simple clothing, while others added feathers or mystical details to heighten his exotic image. Despite the widespread fascination, very little is known about Wong's personal life or his feelings about being portrayed as a living oddity. He never toured extensively or joined a major circus, yet his image became iconic, remembered more for spectacle than humanity. Number 3, General Tom Thumb. Charles Stratton, famously known as General Tom Thumb, was born in 1838 in Bridgeport, Connecticut, with proportionate dwarfism, standing just over 2 feet tall. His life changed dramatically at age 5 when P.T. Barnum discovered him and turned him into an international sensation. Barnum trained Stratton to dance, sing, and deliver witty monologues, dressing him in military-style uniforms to project dignity and refinement. Tom Thumb toured globally, performing for royalty and political leaders, including Queen Victoria, Abraham Lincoln, and Napoleon III. His 1863 wedding to Lavinia Warren another little-person performer, became front-page news across the United States. Together, they symbolized elegance in miniature form. In 1875, Stratton famously posed standing atop a British soldier's palm, cementing his place in sideshow history. He died at 45, but his influence endured. He was not simply displayed as a curiosity, he was presented as a figure of stature and respect. Number 2, Pip and Flip. Pip and Flip were twin sisters born with microcephaly who rose to prominence in the 1930s sideshow circuit. Although they were born in the United States, promoters invented an exotic backstory, marketing them as mysterious jungle twins from the Yucatan Peninsula to increase intrigue. Their small heads, narrow faces, and thin limbs reflected their condition. But the illusion of foreign origin was entirely fabricated. Despite the manufactured mythology, the sisters embraced performing. Dressed in matching outfits, they appeared together in light routines that included singing, dancing, or simply standing side by side in synchronized charm. Behind the scenes, fellow performers described them as affectionate, playful, and gentle. Their visibility expanded after appearing in Todd Browning's 1932 cult film Freaks. Though surrounded by sensationalism, Pip and Flip retained a sense of innocence and closeness, leaving a quiet but lasting impression on sideshow history. Number 1, Anna Haining Swan Bates. Anna Haining Swan Bates was born in Nova Scotia in 1846 and grew to over 7 feet tall, making her one of the tallest women ever recorded. Her remarkable height quickly attracted attention, leading her to tour fairs and exhibitions alongside very small performers to emphasize visual contrast. A surviving photograph from the 1870s shows her standing beside her parents, her size appearing almost unreal, even in still images. Despite being presented as a spectacle, Anna's family remained closely involved in her life and often accompanied her on tour. Those who knew her described her as intelligent, gentle, and refined. She later married Martin Van Buren Bates, a fellow giant, and together they became famous as the tallest married couple in the world. While audiences focused on her stature, those who met her remembered her kindness, elegance, and quiet strength. She never needed tricks. Her presence alone was unforgettable. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe.